What's poppin', players? Welcome back to a Two Penny Games review. This time, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I am your host and lead reviewer, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host. Say hello to the people, Phil Shoemaker.
Hello.
Hello, Phil. We have been playing Spider-Man 2. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. We have both platinumed Spider-Man 2. And
True.
boy,
You were scared for a second that you weren't going to get it.
Oh man, I thought one of the little side objectives glitched on me. And I still think it did, but I think it just fixed itself eventually. There was just enough resets to where it finally fixed itself. It was the Brooklyn Bridge one. Like there was just no matter where I stood, like it wouldn't let me take the picture, and then I finally just loaded up, stood exactly where I've been standing every time, and it was like, all right, now it works. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever.
That's one where like Robbie Robertson is like, now that's a bridge or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I am the lead reviewer here for Spider-Man 2, and let me tell you what, I've been bouncing back and forth in my head how I'm going to rate this game. What words am I gonna use to describe this game? Because though I'm going to go ahead and spoil it and say I love this game, I don't think it's a perfect game. But I don't think it needs to be a perfect game for me to say Spider-Man 2 is a masterpiece. Starting with the good, Insomniac is on another level with this one. They have, in my mind, officially put their stamp on Spider-Man in a universe building way. This is the Insomniac universe, and it stands toe to toe with every other version of Spider-Man out there. I love the performances in this game. Both Yuri and Najee as Peter and Miles, respectively, kill it. They are so good. This version of Miles, I've never been a huge fan of. In this game, he's finally up to par with his movie counterpart, and I love him just as much as Peter, if not more than Peter at this rate. The gameplay has been polished to a sheen. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And in fact, they just tweaked it in some areas that it needed to be tweaked. They took the gadget wheel out and replaced it with quick hot commands and limited you to 4 abilities and 4 commands. I think this works phenomenally. I'm not a super huge fan of the individual gadgets they've chosen to give you, but overall, I think the system just works really well. It keeps you in the flow. It keeps you in the moment instead of breaking that up with pulling up your wheel and selecting a different gadget and slowing down time and all that. It just keeps you in the action at all times, and it's exhilarating. Web swing, again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just add some stuff on top of it. Web wings, awesome. This is the best traversal in any video game ever. Period. Full stop.
I don't even think I can argue with you.
I could swing around for hours and just be swinging. That's it. I really like the story of this game, but this is where my one real critique, I think, pops up. I like this story. I don't love this story. I love the character moments that happen in this story. This is my favorite Kraven the Hunter story. This is my favorite symbiote story. This is not my favorite Venom story. And there are things, I'll say, there are huge arcs of the game where either Miles or Peter is just straight up uninteresting. They're not doing interesting things. It very much feels like, hey, at this moment, we really want to focus on Peter. We don't have necessarily anything for Miles right now, so let's figure something out. But it's clearly not. It's clearly like filler for one or the other. And it happens to both Spider-Man at different points in the story. But a phenomenal plot does not a masterpiece of a game make. Even though the story is not my favorite thing, I think it gets a little too crazy. I think the stakes are too high, and I think it kind of like detaches me from the tension, especially in the third act. I just can't deny that Insomniac is on their best game. This is Insomniac's best game that they've ever made. This has launched them into S-tier status, in my opinion. Just gameplay alone, this game is a masterpiece. Like, there's no game that feels better to play than this game, especially an open world third-person action game like this. One thing I do want to point out, a lot of criticism online has been given to the side activities and the side quests of the game. They are quite
Sorry,
repetitive.
for a second, I thought you almost dropped out. Sorry.
They did, yeah. Let me re-say that just in case, and I'll edit it out or whatever. A lot of criticism has been given to this game for its side quests, side activities that they have, and yeah, they are quite repetitive and even a little bit copy paste from the last couple of games. But to me, it doesn't bother me. I really don't mind it. This is the type of side activities I want to do in a game like this, in a Spider-Man game. I don't need super deep, crazy side quests like a Witcher 3 or I don't need an open world design like an Elden Ring for a Spider-Man game. This is what I want for a Spider-Man game, and Insomniac nails it. In fact, they've stepped their side objective stuff game up in this one, because every single side quest, every single side activity delivered upon a really, really awesome story beat or story moment. Or there are multiple moments in side quests. These are optional content in which, like, I was almost brought to tears multiple times. This happens. Some of these side quests, like, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't do. And at the end of the day, man, Spider-Man 2 is a game that I will never delete from my console. I love this game, and I can't wait to replay this game. Phil, am I crazy? Am I hyperbolous? You were shocked at my rating here.
I was shocked at the masterpiece, because the way, I think it was just mostly me misinterpreting your words in Discord. Because whenever you said that you were bouncing between two, I thought maybe you were bouncing between like an 8 or a 9, or like what we call a
great and an
amazing versus is it great? Is that what it is?
No, 8 is great.
8 is great. Okay. Oh, easy to remember because it rhymes.
Boom.
There you go. I think for me, see, this is where it's hard for me, because we have the what is essentially like a 1 out of 10 scale, or 1 to 10 scale.
Yeah, but the word matters more.
For sure. No, I agree. Like, I would agree with Kind of Funny in the 5 out of 5, but I think for me, this isn't. I don't know. I don't know how much I want to bog this down because of some of the performance issues that I had.
Yeah, that's definitely a conversation that we should have about it, for sure.
It's just, I think for me, this is an amazing game. I don't know if I would call it a masterpiece. I love it like a masterpiece. Don't get me wrong. I fucking adore this game. There was a reason that it was like all I was playing for what was essentially like, I don't know, up until like 6 a.m. one day.
Yeah.
Like it was insane.
I had 2 nights like that. Not that late, but like 4.
Yeah, there was, I think the night that it came out, I stopped at QT and picked up a couple monsters just so I can like kind of keep myself going, you know?
Yeah, I did the same thing when I went on stream with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching those parts. You did a good job on those little Let's Play bits that you were doing.
Oh, thank you.
But no, for me, I think for the channel, I'm gonna give this game an amazing.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love it like a masterpiece. Like you said, traversal in these games has never been better. And also, I think in any game, I like I said, I don't think I'm gonna fight you on that.
No.
It's just the way that swinging feels in this game, combined with the web wings, combined with doing some of the tricks just to be flashy, combined with the jump forward and jump up, just to keep your momentum and your speed going. The sheer amount of speed that you can get in this game is fucking crazy, dude. Like, I love the my favorite thing is my favorite new like ability that's added is the fucking like loop de loop thing, where you do like the full like spin and then fucking just launch yourself super high.
I found that too tricky to pull off. I don't
Really?
know why. Yeah, I just couldn't get it. I think because you have to like dive for like a certain amount before you can do it. Because like sometimes it wants to do it and then doesn't. I don't know if it was like glitching on me because I don't want to talk about. I don't want to bog or interrupt you or bog it down, but yeah,
No, I get you.
Yeah, the performance of the game is in question because the game crashed on me like 6 or 7 times throughout my playthrough.
I think I was around 8 crashes.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire playthrough.
I didn't notice any glitches or visual bugs or anything, but I think the game is.
I did not get the cube.
I didn't get the cube either. I didn't get the cube. A community member got the cube, But no, I did not get the cube. But I'm curious if it's like, did I not have any glitches and only just had a couple of crashes, or is the game hiding its glitches? And maybe it was behind sort of the some of the combat moments that were a little more difficult. Maybe that's like maybe I died a time or two because of glitches or something. But it's impossible to tell. That's something I had. Go ahead.
My most notable glitches were I had a couple scenes, mostly like action. I think the first one was the Coney Island bit where everything's popping off and the music and the sound effects were going, but there was no dialogue.
Oh no!
Like the voice acting wasn't playing, but there was subtitles were still going. So it was like it was very weird. And then another one, the same thing happened in another scene as well. But there was also bits where one of the first bike riding segments, I guess I was going too fast off of a curb, and Peter like was going into the floor, into the ground. Like his bike went forward like he was doing a stoppie, and he was going into the ground and he was stuck, and I was like, I saved a clip of it on PlayStation. Like you can like take clips or whatever.
Yeah.
By hitting the button or whatever on the controller. But yeah, I fucking adore this game.
Oh yeah.
I love the. We knew that at some point there was going to be, like, with the symbiote story and what we saw. I was surprised at how late in the game that happened. That you get the symbiote, and that like, when we saw like the bit from the showcase. I was surprised at how late into the game that was.
Well, and I think part of it is just our anticipation, and we want to get to it, and we know that that once you get the symbiote, there are beats that have to take place, and I think those beats are perfectly paced and very well executed on. Again, I think the symbiote story is awesome. The black suit Spider-Man stuff is so good. They do so much with it.
The way that you can like see the gradual change in Peter and how it's taking over is fantastic.
It's actually gradual, which is impressive because very often it's like, all right, I'm Peter, but I'm a little more aggressive. All right, I'm Dickhead. No, this divvies it out. Not to get too spoiler or anything, but this is very well paced out. Very well paced out. It's just,
but yeah, I think combat. I kind of have to disagree with you with the gadgets. I loved all but one of the gadgets. I like that. The one that was binded to square. I can't remember which one. Or bound to square. I don't know why I said binded.
The pull them together one
brings everyone together. Yes.
Oh no, that one's sick as fuck, dude. That one's
it's so good.
Oh no,
I'm saying that's the best one.
Oh, I thought that's what you were saying you didn't love.
No, the one that I don't love is the upshot.
Oh, I don't love the the upshot doesn't do much for me. That's
the worst one for me.
That's a get them off of me tool for me. Like just
that's the worst one
get away
for
from
me
type thing. Yeah.
But no, like the I think it's called Web Grapple. What's it called? But like it brings them all together, and it's so good. It's so versatile,
especially when it's upgraded. Yeah, it's so good. God.
Yes,
that'll do the fight for you.
Honestly, there were bits where I played this on the medium difficulty.
Okay,
because I wanted the standard kind of experience.
I'll say
I could have easily played on the higher difficulty. I think
I played most of the game. I played most of the game on hard, and let me say this: I eventually knocked it down to normal because the game does get difficult, which is surprising because
some of the boss fights are tough.
Yeah, and that surprises me because the first game not hard at all. I played that game on hard, didn't have any issues ever. This game, there were some struggle buses with a couple of boss fights for me, and that is something I do want to big up, though. Boss fight design has been totally reworked.
Good.
And it is so much better than it was in the last two games. Like, this boss fight design, I'm totally cool with. This hits a good balance between difficulty, hits a good balance between, like, studying their moves and finding their attack patterns. And
knowing when to dodge and when to counter.
And still keeping it simple enough to where you can still have your dope Spider-Man superhero moments and feeling great on it. I love the boss fights in this game. I love how many there are. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Way more than you can expect. Way more.
There's a point in the game where it feels like a boss rush. Like
100%.
like there's just boss after boss after boss.
Absolutely. And I loved it. I loved every moment of it. But in combination
fantastic.
with hard mode, especially when you start getting to the boss rush mode, it's just like, man, can I just play this game, please? Because this is hard. Like, I've been getting my ass kicked every 15 minutes here, and I would like to.
You mentioned how easy the first game was, which is very true. It was a very easy game until you get to the City That Never Sleeps DLC. And some of those fights that those fights are fucking tough. So I think we found a very happy medium between that DLC like combat scaling and the base game. This is very much like the more refined.
I think it's the changes they've made to gameplay, the slight ones. I think it is like unifying the two Spider-Men with basically like 4 abilities, 4 gadgets. They have unique abilities each, but the gadgets kind of unifying them kind of unifies the entire combat design between the two, and it sort of helps them dial in exactly what the difficulty should be from encounter to encounter. And it, because it's, you can only do so much, and even though like I miss things like the heavy web shot, or I miss the trip line and stuff like that.
Yeah, the impact web.
Yeah, and the concussion blast in this game is kind of garbage.
I see. I thought that. I think 85 to 90% of the game until a certain thing happens in the story.
Even then, I thought it was awesome. Even then, I don't like it because of its story function. Like, it still doesn't help me in combat. Like, it's like cool for that.
You got to use it in tandem. You got to use it in tandem with the bringing them all together.
Really? Okay. Because I've been using it in tandem with Ricochet.
That's the best way to use it.
I've been using it in tandem with Ricochet.
I don't know about that.
Because that's what I did. That's my whole experience with the last game is web bomb, concussion blast. They're all on the wall. Like that's what I used to do. And so I'm trying to do that, and that's just not a thing that you can do anymore.
No, once you get that like special like story upgrade and you fight those particular enemies, bring them all together and then use one thing and all of them are like stunned. It's very good.
Yeah, but and then you hit post game and then you're not fighting those enemies anymore,
Sure.
So, but that's beside the point. Where were we? Oh, difficult. Oh, here's what I really wanted to talk about. This is the best case example of what makes the PlayStation 5 great. This is a phenomenal PlayStation 5 game. SSD is kicking ass. They in the opening like set piece to the game, they're just showing off. Like they're just like, look what we can do. Like
exactly.
And then it's just followed up throughout the entire game. Like people were complaining about like game length and they're thinking the game is too short. Guys, it's not that it's too short. It has just about the same amount of combat. It has just about the same amount of content, if not more. It's just that you're not slowed down by the last generation hardware. Swing speed is faster. You're getting places faster. Fast travel is
the
useful.
web wings.
And
you already know like what you're doing. Also, there's much less of a learning curve.
Yeah, and fast travel, like it is literally like just point click, you're there, and there's no loading screens, 0 loading screens. There's not even like hidden loading screens. Like there are if you know what to look for, but it's like you may as well not even mention it because it's just not there, and it's so impressive. I also think they do good use of things like with the adaptive triggers and with the vibration and all that. This is one of the more impressive games to use it. Still not perfect. I still think Returnal uses the function of the controller the best out of any game.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Just the overall package and the overall experience of playing it on a PlayStation 5. To me, like this game marks like we are now in the meat of the generation. Now we're in the period of time where it's like, okay, now we understand why we have these consoles, and as we get deeper and deeper, these experiences are just going to get more and more crazy. And Spider-Man 2, I think, is the landmark title of like, here is the PlayStation 5 generation. No more being held back by a PlayStation 4 version. No more waiting around or succumbing to third party sort of handicaps. This game on this console is mind blowing. To the point where
one thing I'll say. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Well, I'll just say to the point where the inevitable PC port, I don't know how it's going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, right. No, I just wanted to mention it before we like move to a different topic about the adaptive triggers. One thing that I wasn't a fan of, at least I think for like the first half of the game until I like got used to it. It just took me a little longer than I thought it should take me to get used to it. The bit where you have to like use the adaptive triggers to like get the things at the right spots.
That never felt good.
I did not like it. I was not a fan of that.
It never felt good, but like the slight little tension they put on it for web swinging, like they experimented it with Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered, but it just kind of felt like kind of weird. Here it's like, oh no, this feels right. Like,
yeah,
and the rest of the use case of the triggers does feel right. But yeah, when you're doing some of the side objectives and it requires you to line up some things, it never felt good. It never felt great to do. It just felt like, all right, I'm doing this now. And I will say that to the point, like some of these side objectives are like not fun, but they pay off. So I'm like, they're cool. Like I'm not kidding. Like usually the end story beat of every side objective or quest makes it worth doing and makes it really, really awesome. There's so many things that I can't wait to talk about in a spoiler cast.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that's really cool that made those side objectives so much more engaging was the fact that you kind of had like the kind of progress updates with Genki kind of calling in and be like, hey, what's going on here? And it almost makes me want to put off the main story and be like, oh, let me hunt the rest of these down to figure this out, right?
That's something
I loved that part of it.
That's something I actually felt the first game did better, is distracting me away from the main story, especially like when things start getting going and tensions start rising. I found myself just rushing to the next story beat again and again and again and again. Like, whereas last game it'd be like, all right, let me do a mission, maybe two. All right, let me go swing around the open world and have fun. And then let me get back to the story later. Whereas this one, it was like, this feels urgent. I need to go deal with this now. Like,
that's weird because I had almost the opposite experience with one where I basically mainlined that story and then did all the side stuff at the end.
One, I like piecemealed it out as I went and like did probably 80% of the side stuff before I rolled credits. And this one I did maybe 30% before I rolled credits.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This one I did every single thing I could as soon as it was available to me.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay, yeah. And it was like, at first I was kind of doing that. Like at first it was that way, but as tensions were rising in the narrative, I found myself going, no, I got to go do that right now.
There was one point where
I was almost scared that like
story it was. But
I was almost scared that like events would happen if I didn't get to it fast enough. Like, which is totally not how this game design works.
Right.
And I knew that, but I almost felt like, oh, if I don't do this now, it will affect the narrative beats of the story, which totally is not a thing. But I mean, that should tell you like the story is good. It's really good. And the tension is there to the points where I was like, I need to know what happened next every single mission. It's just, it just eventually got to a point where I was just like, oh, this is not my favorite direction to take these types of stories. I would rather a different direction or something. But
have you seen some people criticize the humor in this game and how it's like they say it's not funny?
I understand that. I don't agree, but I understand it.
I also don't agree.
There
was multiple moments where I was laughing my ass off.
I don't know if I was ever laughing my ass off, but I was chuckling it quite a bit. But there is some cringe. There is some moments where Peter's busting out dad jokes, and I'm like, all right, bro, come on now. What are we doing here?
Dude, the be a good proton joke, so good.
That's a great joke. That's a great.
So
that was a
good.
chuckle one. That was a chuckle one. But there were many moments where I was like, "Oof, Peter, no."
I didn't know there were bears in these woods.
That was one of them where I was like,
That was a great one, dude.
And
I
then immediately
fucking loved that.
Immediately, not to spoil it, but to spoil it, immediately followed up with, "I'm all out of honey."
Fresh out of honey.
I was like, no, this is not working.
I
This is
loved
not
it,
working
dude.
at all.
I was laughing so hard playing that.
Yeah.
I had to pause for a second because I was giggling.
I do want to. Maybe my feelings on this will change with a second playthrough. This is not one of my favorite, like, Peter Parker / Spider-Man stories that have been told. I think it works better for the villains than it does for our heroes, kind of here. It just felt a little lacking in parts of the narrative. It's also like the stakes are much higher this time. I keep hammering that, but they really are much higher. And the tension is much, more tense. It just being, that kind of comes with the nature of it being a symbiote story. But
like, not even just that it's a symbiote story, it's that it's a Craven story, Like there are some bits that they do the damn thing.
Oh yeah, they go there with again.
Not to get into spoilers.
The Craven the Hunter story in this is perfect. This is the best Craven story I've ever seen, hands down. Like by a mile.
I felt like, even though I felt like he wasn't on screen enough, but I felt myself wanting more and more Craven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I felt like I didn't get enough Craven, even though I really liked what I got.
Yeah. I think I agree. There's not enough of him on screen, but his presence is always felt, and the threat of him is very real, which is crazy because that's something that can very quickly fall off. Like there are times where Craven squares off with a certain character, and I go, dude, he's not ready for this fight. We gotta get in there, because if we don't get in there, it's gonna be bad.
I was really hoping that I know it's not like this type of game to do that, and it's not really Insomniac's bag to get into that. But I would have really liked Craven or we know that you fight him. It's in all the trailers. Venom, that was more like a Mr. X type character and stalked you. I think that would have been really cool.
That would have been interesting for real. But how do you do that in an open world?
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. It's not really like that. I don't know how they would do that, and it's not Insomniac's type
Mr.
thing.
X works so well because the area is so contained. And I mean, even go to the next game with Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, where the streets get more open. Nemesis is not as cool as Mr. X, not even a little bit.
Not nearly.
Yeah.
One, he doesn't have a hat you can shoot off.
No, he doesn't. But yeah. Oh God.
Tombstone kind of looks like Mr. X.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. I like that. I'll say I was surprised at how much they went back and continued storylines from older games and really small. They're very detailed oriented over at Insomniac, where there are threads that are being pulled on that I was like, oh, I thought that was a one-time thing from the last game. Oh, it's still going. Oh, it's really heavy. Oh, it's gonna make me cry. Oh God, it was impressive. It really is impressive what they're able to accomplish in this game.
There was one moment where I think I was there was a sad moment that kind of made me tear up, but there were, I think, 2 or 3 moments where I was just smiling, so I was tearing up. There were happy moments, and I was like, God, this game is making me feel so much. God, it's so good to be a Spider-Man fan. Holy shit.
How did you feel about the balance with currency between suits and upgrades?
For me, it was fine because I really didn't worry about the suits until the end, until I had everything else upgraded.
Yeah.
There was a moment where it kind of started to wear thin when I was trying to get the trophy for all the suits.
Yeah.
But when I was unlocking suits, I would only unlock the ones that had alternate colors that I could also get.
So cool.
So, yeah. So like those ones that are based off of like movies that you couldn't change.
Yeah, especially if they had
do.
appeared in the last game, I was like, I don't need 4 Tom Holland suits again.
This is
like,
new. I want to see this. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
That's crazy. There are 4 different Tom Holland suits in this game.
Is there only 4? I thought there was more.
There's the
well, no spoil. No, don't spoil it here. We can talk about it later. But yeah.
Sure, sure. I mean, it's suits, dude. Come on.
It is. But there's 1 or 2 in there that I was like, oh wow, like this suit is in the game. Wow, this is incredible. Like I texted you one of them where I was like, holy shit, this is here. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Totally wasn't expecting it. I was so happy it was there.
I do. There are some suits that I miss from the first game.
Me too.
That aren't in this one.
Yeah.
And there's some of them that are like, oh man, I really would have much rather had this suit than this suit, you know, like
sure.
We didn't really need this one, you know, like, but I know they were just trying to go with just because it's just because you don't like it, it's new, so it's, you know, it's a new thing. We're trying some stuff out. It's not you're gonna be your cup of tea, but it might be somebody else's.
100%. And I think they're so varied. That it's like there are so many suits in this game, and this happened with the last game too. There's so many suits in this game where I'm like, this suit is fucking ugly. Like, who the hell would want this? And then I go on TikTok, and sure enough, some motherfucker's swinging around New York in it, and I'm like, wow.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like, there are so many suits to where it's like they're so varied, and I feel like just be like it might be your least favorite, but that's somebody else's favorite. You
100%.
know,
yeah.
Somebody else, like you said, that somebody else on TikTok is swinging around in that suit, loving life and having a great time. And you know that I think that's great. I think the amount of variety that's in this game in terms of suits is fantastic. There's just like I said, I just think that I miss some of the old ones that we had.
Oh, for sure. To kind of close us out here, as we start wrapping up here, the only thing that I really want to leave us with, and this is straight up just a call to Insomniac here. When selecting villains for your next game, there are obvious things that you've set up that you're going to go down, and I'm very excited to see what you do, and I trust you fully to go do it. Insomniac, you have done such a great job with these games. You've put such your own unique stamp on this universe. And I love this universe so much. More than anything, with this next game, a Spider-Man 3, more than anything, I just beg you, go original. Create something straight out of you. I want an Insomniac spawned villain. And I don't want a side guy. I want front and center stage Insomniac villain. They came from this universe. You guys have already done so much to the point to where when the White Spider shows up in the movies, people go crazy and cheer and clap. Like, this universe matters to so many people. I'm fairly certain it has become my favorite Spider-Man universe. And I want nothing more than to just have a perfect pin cap in it with its own unique original villain. Please, just I'm so excited for you to go down some of these roads that you've set up. I'm very excited to see that. But more than anything, I want a unique character, someone we've never seen before, takes center stage and battle our Spider-Men from whatever you maniacs can create in your own mind, because this universe deserves it. And I think more than anything, this villain would be popularized and would blow up and would become fan favorites just because you guys are so good at what you're doing. Phil, is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we got out of here?
Not really. I just think so I thought I think at some point it might have been during the showcase reaction that we did, or the state of play, whichever one that the first Spider-Man gameplay like showed up for.
I believe that was Showcase.
Showcase?
Yeah.
Okay. I had mentioned that in the Miles Morales post-credit scene, that Dr. Connors had both of his arms, because it looked like he had both of his arms. I was wrong.
Okay.
And that's why I was confused, because it like, obviously everyone knows Kirk Connors is the Lizard.
Yeah.
And what I thought was interesting was that in this universe, Spider-Man had already dealt with the Lizard before.
Yeah.
You know? So it was weird that he had both of his arms, but I was just wrong. I just saw it wrong.
Yeah.
Because I literally, during the showcase reaction we did, I looked at the post-credit scene for Miles to see.
Yeah.
Because, Connors is working on Harry, whatever. Yeah, he definitely does not have both of his arms.
No.
So I thought in the game that they like retconned it.
Because that's how because they didn't give him a face yet, right? Like he's just in the shadows.
But in the subtitles it said Connors. It said Dr. Connors.
Okay. For some reason I have a shot in my head where it's like missing arm right here. This is Connors, like type thing. But
yeah.
Neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for our Spider-Man 2 review. We will be doing a spoiler cast for this game because I need to talk about some stuff that happened in it very, very badly. So make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us for more. All of our links are down in the description below. Make sure you keep an eye out for that spoiler cast. It should be coming sooner rather than later. When? Don't know exactly, and I don't want to give a time because we were supposed to get this review out days ago, but we just fucking life happens.
Shit happens.
So there we go. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Let us know how you felt about Spider-Man 2 down in the comments below. Until next time, have a great time, and Phil, say goodbye to the people.
Adios.